I don't even know what to say anymore. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I have a lot to unpack, and there's some stuff that after tonight's game, there's just a lot in the game I'm disappointed about. But then there's some other stuff that needs to get addressed. And there's a certain play near the end of the game where I thought one thing originally, but my opinion has changed a little bit. Going into this game, Case announced to be returner, not Chris Smith, going down to practice roster. Why? I have no idea for this decision. Just makes no sense. Unless he's got some sort of injury and there's a reason he can't play. That's just a completely brain dead decision. If there's no injury or anything, oh boy. First quarter. Bombers kind of get a little bit of a push off the start. Castillo hits a 36-yard field goal, making it 3-0 Bombers. Riders would then push on offense, and then Brett Lawther would tie the game with a 28-yard field goal, and it was a 3-3 time. It would go back and forth a little bit, and then the first quarter would end with a good run for Brady Oliveira. I'm going to kind of speed through a lot of this game real quick because there's some big talking points I want to spend a lot of time on. And the first half of this game was just a lot of decent defense, you know? It was a lot of good defense, and so there just wasn't that much to talk about. So second quarter would start, and it would go back and forth a bit, and Castillo would hit a 57-yard field goal, making the 6-3 Bombers. Just incredible field goal by him. The Riders would then push once again, and Brett Lawther ties the game. 41-yard field goal, making the 6-6. The Bombers' next drive would then just not get very much, and then they would be forced to punt. We go back and forth a bit, and then Castillo goes for a crazy attempt, 61-yard field goal attempt. And this would be slightly wide right, maybe about 2 yards or whatever. And then it would just be slightly short as well. Good attempt. I can't blame him for going for it because Castillo's been very, very good from those long ones. But just crazy. It was just quite something. And then Bonds would then get a pick for the Bombers. However, Garbitz gets a holding penalty, and Saskatchewan would get a first down. Just smarten up, seriously. I'm not going to lie. Was I a fan of the officiating in this game? No. I've actually talked to some Saskatchewan guys, and they've said that they kind of agree with me a little bit that the officiating was a little slanted in this game. However, I want to come out right now and say that does not matter. It does not matter. And we didn't lose because of officiating. We didn't lose because of XYZ. We lost because of ourselves. There's stuff to be proud of in this game. There is. I thought the defense overall was pretty good. The offense, pathetic. I'm sorry. But I'll go into that more a little later. About halfway through the second quarter, Kean Schaefer-Baker would get injured for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and at halftime it's announced that he's going to be out for the rest of the game. So big loss for Saskatchewan, you know? Maybe Winnipeg can start doing something. Again, I don't wish for any injuries. I hope nothing but the best for him, although I will say he was in a sling on the sidelines, just didn't look good. But yeah, so hopefully he recovers, but Bombers have an opportunity to get something, and they don't. Third quarter comes around, Feltmate goes down for Winnipeg. Then there'd be some good Bomber defense that would force a punt. It would go back and forth a bit, back and forth some more. This game is really boring, I wrote at this point. The Riders would then have a really strong drive after that, and they would get themselves the first touchdown of the game about midway through the third quarter, I believe. The conversion is good, making this 13-6 for Saskatchewan. The Bombers would then push, and Strevler would come up big in short yardage, getting a very, very much needed first down. Brady Oliveira would then continue the little bit of rushing game that we have, and he'd have himself a nice run. And so I was glad to see that. I think he picked up around 16 yards, if I remember correctly. And then throws a bad pick. This is a bad pick, and so first of all, I need to talk about a few things. Number one, our receivers tonight were not good. And I know everyone's talking about Dembski. And trust me, I will get to that. I can't look at any receiver and say that anyone really played that good. And what I mean by that is get open. I understand that this Saskatchewan defense is good. But you got to get open. Collaros doesn't have very many options. You wonder why Collaros was sitting in the pocket for so long and he doesn't throw. It's because there's no one to throw to. You got to get open. You got to get open, and Collaros can then maybe get a throw to you. However, for this play, and this may anger some people, but I'm going to say it anyway because I believe it. And I try not to blame everything on Collaros. I don't think it's that simple. This turnover, this pick, was 100% on Zach Collaros. And the reason I'm saying that is because Nick Dembski, now, does Nick Dembski do his job in getting open? No. However, at the end of the day, if the quarterback, especially on first down, is looking for options and he sees that none of the quarterbacks are available and he feels like he's about to get sacked, which he almost was. There was a guy right on his tail. I knew that Calero had detected him and knew he was going down soon. You throw the ball out of bounds. You do. What you don't do is try to force a play, to try to make something out of nothing. Nick Dembski was flat-footed in double coverage. Why are we surprised that it was a pick? And this is a crucial point in the time where not only can we not give up a pick, we need at least a field goal. We need points. We can't give up the field goal even. And that's what we did. And so it's just, I'm sorry, but I can't defend that. I can't. It was not a good play. It was the wrong play. And I just disappointing. However, I will say one thing, complain about Buck Pierce here. Buck Pierce, so I believe that was, so I think that was second down. I can't remember. I can't remember if it was that play or the one before or something like that. There was a play where essentially the Bombers had been, getting some first downs and whatnot. And Buck Pierce gets a little too comfortable throwing the ball constantly in the sense of that he forgets that Brady Oliveira is there. And Brady Oliveira was actually starting to finally get a little bit of something going. And so his play calling became a little too predictable by too many consistent passing plays in a row. And stuff like that can lead to defensive teams. So like defensive players, like linebackers, and well, when I say defensive players, I mean in like the passing game. So like for example, the D-line, they're rushing, they're not looking for the picks. But guys like those outside linebackers, guys like that middle linebacker, if he's covering that middle zone, guys like the corners, they're looking for picks because they know that ball is coming, and that's exactly what they do, and we get burnt on it. Saskatchewan then start getting a drive. And Shea Patterson throws one, and it's way over both guys' head. Winnipeg is called on pass interference here. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say this right now. That call was bullshit. I'm sorry, but I can't remember who it was on our team. I want to say it was maybe like Ford or because it wasn't Holm. It might have been Ford. I can't remember. He's got a hand on the guy's shoulder, which is allowed. He does not push him. He does not pull him. That ball is got to be at least 6 to 7 feet over those guys' heads. It's nowhere near it. Both guys give up on the play in the sense of knowing that this ball is way over and going out of bounds, so they're both slowing up. He has his hand on the shoulder, and out comes this orange flag into the field, and I'm like, are you serious? That is just a pile of horse shit. That was a terrible call. And again, I'm not blaming the game on it. I'm not. I'm just giving a honest reaction to this game. I don't see how you can, I don't see how that play is defendable. Either, because that has got to be one of the weakest pass interferences I've ever seen. I'm sorry, that's a borderline soccer kind of call. This is football. This is Canadian football. We don't do that crap here. And so I was very frustrated about that. But again, I'm not gonna blame the game on it. We didn't. We lost this game on our own accord. Saskatchewan would really start pushing the field, and then there would be a big sack by Willie Jefferson. Willie Jefferson actually was decent, was able to get some decent rushes. There was a ball that he tipped later in the game that was very much needed. He got a sack here against Saskatchewan that had done a pretty good job repelling our D-line. Pretty good Saskatchewan O-line just in general. And that's what that is. Then going into the fourth quarter, Brett Lothar would hit a 31-yard field goal, making the 16-6 for the Riders. Bombers need points now. Bombers push a bit. Still no receptions for Ontario Wilson. And again, this kind of part of this is just because he's just not getting open. He needs to do something. It's not looking good. The Bombers would then be forced to punt. Not ideal. Fourth quarter, we need to get back in this game. And I go back and forth a bit. The Bombers would then get possession and they'd push the field. Bombers would go offside and take an offside penalty. Smarten up, seriously. We took so many penalties tonight. And again, I didn't like the officiating either. I didn't. But you have to recognize you have to expect the officiating is going to suck every game you go into. You do. Well, you can't just not win games because officiating is bad. Seriously? It's like, what if you get bad officiating in the Grey Cup? Are you just going to roll over and die? Are you going to go on TSN and bitch about it for 3 hours? No. You got to be able, great teams can get over that. And this team has been great. There's a reason that the Bombers, the past 5 years, have had a dynasty in the West. No other team has gotten to the Grey Cup. No one in the West has gotten to the Grey Cup for the past 5 years. 4 seasons, 5 years. 2 Grey Cup wins, 2 Grey Cup appearances, where they came real close both damn times. It's absolutely a dynasty. And great teams get past that. They do. And we just didn't tonight. Castillo then hits a 39-yard field goal, making this 16-9 for the Riders. The Bombers would then start pushing the field. Ontario Wilson would get his first pass and reception of the game. Or not his first pass of the game, his first reception of the game. He was targeted before that, multiple times. Drew Wolotarski had a good one. He had gotten the ball, got a few extra yards, went down, got the first down, solidified it. Nick Dembski, beautiful catch. Beautiful catch. He then gets going, and Nick Dembski does what Nick Dembski has done numerous times this season. When you get the ball, and you got a lot of yardage hooked up, the number one thing, more important than running and getting all these extra yards, more than anything, is to hold on to the ball. That's why even teams like Saskatchewan, you'll notice tons of times where guys will get the ball and they'll just run out of bounds. Or they'll go down on it. Could they have maybe gotten an extra few yards? Yes. But it was more important to consolidate what they had. Because then they were guaranteed all those other yards. Nick Dembski tries to keep running. He tries to. This play, and he gets hit, and he fumbles the ball. He doesn't hold on to it. He does not prepare himself to be hit. And that's on Nick Dembski. It is. There's no other way to put it. I actually compare this a lot to the Dominic Rhymes play last year between Winnipeg and BC, where BC, Dominic Rhymes gets the ball at the end of the game, and he's looking for the touchdown, but BC only needs a field goal to win. All he's got to do is get the ball within field goal range and go down intentionally so they can hit the field goal and win the game. Or I can't remember if it was win or tie. No, it was win because them getting nothing resulted in the tie. However, he keeps running selfishly. Runs out the clock because he wants that touchdown. He wants the glorious touchdown at the end of the game. Completely unnecessary, though. And BC then loses in overtime. Now, I wouldn't say he cost the game because BC, they got another opportunity there. But that was certainly a turning point where they could have won the game right then and there. But because of his actions, because of his kind of selfishness, they don't. I'm sorry. We have to address this with Nick Dembski. This is not the first time he's dropped a ball like this. And not just dropped it, but fumbled it. When he had it, had possession, and dropped it. I'm so disappointed. I was so frustrated. I was losing my mind on the live stream. All of you wonderful people who saw the live stream, you probably got a real big kick out of me. Losing my mind. This is not good. This is really not good. And the fact that the team that exposed all these issues that have been nagging that we thought might have gone away with the Bombers seemingly just getting better and better and better, and maybe we can get back to where we were. Nope. It was the Rough Riders who did that. Second string quarterback looked better than our quarterback, who we were told was the best, not quarterback, football player in the entire Canadian Football League. Zach Collaros leads the entire CFL in the amount of picks he's thrown. Now, part of that is on the receivers for not getting open. However, he's also the one throwing the picks. I don't know what to say. This is so disappointing. So disappointing. Lauder hits a 32-yard field goal. 19-9 for the Riders. Collaros gets sacked. And on the last play of the game, Riders have the ball. And they're essentially just killing time a little bit. Shea Patterson gets the ball, and he's going to kill time, and then throw that ball and get it out of play. And Adam Bighill hits him right at the last second. Shea Patterson does have possession of the ball when he hits him. It is a fair hit by that standard. But I have a lot of problems with a lot of this. Now, originally, my thoughts on it were, you know what? Bighill is playing to the whistle. He's a football player. And it was a legal hit. It was. However, it's so unnecessary in the sense of, should Shea Patterson have thrown this away earlier? Absolutely. No question. Like, no question. And a guy who even admitted this is Glenn Suter on the broadcast, which, if you know anything about Glenn Suter, this is the most biased Rough Rider guy possible. Seriously. Like, I'm not kidding. It's actually crazy how they have him doing the Rider games, considering the fact that, I think his bias is incredibly obvious on the broadcast. Even Glenn Suter admitted Shea Patterson should have thrown this earlier, which he should have. However, Bighill, you know we're not winning this game. We're not winning this game. And a lot of Riders fans are believing that this was intent to injure. I get it. Do I think it was from Bighill, from what I know about Bighill? I don't think it was, and I think it was more of Bighill in his mind believing the whistle hasn't gone. He has the ball. Because you're taught as a football player to always play like it's 0-0. You are. And so I believe that's, I don't think, so you know what, I'm going to, maybe a little bit of a hot take. I don't think it was his intent to injure. Not injure. Was he intending to give Shea Patterson a hit that he would feel and that would maybe hurt a little? Yeah. Do I understand Saskatchewan for getting upset about this? Yeah. At the end of the day, it's very unnecessary. And to me, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth at the end of this game. I already felt bad about the loss. I didn't like it. But this, really? Now, I know a lot of CFL fans who are not a fan of either of these teams are like excited, like, oh my God, now Labor Day and Banjo Bowl. It's going to be crazy. This is a rivalry now. And yeah, I don't like that it was our side that initiated that, though, like that. Because now it makes us look like the bad guys. It does. And, you know, I'm always going to cheer for my Bombers. I will. But and again, it is a clean hit. It is. But was it necessary? And that's where I say no. I don't think it was. And it's one of those things where all we've done is when we play Saskatchewan at the Labor Day Classic, you think they're going to remember that? I bet you they will. I bet you they will. I bet you AJ Ouellette is going to be thinking about that for weeks. He lost his mind after that. Was it a little over the top? Yeah. Bighill's hit, though, was too. So, you know, it goes both ways. And all we've done now with that hit is motivated this team like never before. So the next time they see us on the field, they're going to be motivated. I need to see a motivated Bombers. That's what I need to see. I need to see a motivated Bombers, and I need to see effort. Get open receivers. Collaros, don't try to force plays that aren't there. You got to have some patience. And I know he does because he was sitting in his pocket all day because the receivers weren't open. The offensive line pretty much did what they could. This D-line is really, really good for Saskatchewan. Arguably, top 2 D-line in the CFL right now. They look really damn good. I overall was okay with the O-line here. The only problem I had with the O-line was the penalties they took. Colin Kowski took, I think, at least 2 holding penalties. Got to cut down on that stuff. I'm so disappointed. Not that, like, am I disappointed we lost? Absolutely, yes. But I'm disappointed the way we lost. Like, that's frustrating. It really is. I expect better. And we should expect better. Just being honest. And there needs to be real questions brought up about Zach Collaros, about Nick Dembski. Does this team really have it? I don't know. I've seen flashes in the pan of it, but flashes in the pan aren't what get you Grey Cups. They're not. I would like to believe that with Winnipeg and with everything, that this isn't the end of the road, but this is just, with these new Bombers, they have to go through adversity that they haven't really had to go through as much these past few years. Besides not winning in the Grey Cup, they've had kind of easy pickings getting to that game, though. Hopefully this is just a Bombers team that's going to get some wins, they're going to get some losses, and when it comes to playoff time, they're going to need to fight tooth and nail for every single inch, every single yard. And at that point, maybe they can do it. Maybe. I hope so. I haven't seen enough fight yet. I have not. And that is a damn shame. It is. So I want to know what your guys' thoughts were. I want to thank everyone who joined the live stream on Canadian Football Central and supported us, as you guys were just incredible today. We had 2 live streams, Edmonton and Ottawa, and then Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, with a combined total of over 800 views between the two, 32 likes total between the two, 16 new subscribers between the two. You guys were just crazy, and I appreciate it. There were lots of Bomber fans that were there. There were lots of Rider fans that were there. There were some Edmonton fans, some Ottawa fans, some fans of just the CFL in general. I appreciate all of you that tuned into that, and I appreciate all of you tuning into this now. If you haven't, make sure you leave a like on this video. Hit the subscribe button and also hit the little notification bell. Really helps out the channel a ton. Would really, really appreciate it. I want to know what your guys' thoughts were on the game today. That big hill hit at the end, Dembski dropping the ball, Collaros and his play overall, all that. I want to know what your thoughts are on all that. Is Collaros washed? I don't know. Seeing a little bit of evidence that maybe he is. I hope that's not true, though. And I hope he turns it around. See you guys next time.